What is going on, guys? Joey Frenzel here with Flex Training Systems. Today, we're going to be talking about training split, understanding, strong and weak days, which is like a subtopic. Also, at the end, I'm going to get into some real talk, just some stuff that I think will help the community or just people in general. I actually think the training split is really important, maybe more important than what people think. I mean, I think people think it's important, but it's really important. It's super important. And then understanding, why. We'll get into all that. So, that being said, here we go. So your trading split, right? I'll just throw a random one out there. Let's say you train 6 days a week, right? Monday through Saturday, you have Sunday off, and you follow some kind of upper lower upper lower upper lower or reverse, so lower upper lower upper lower upper. The same thing goes for, it's the same kind of principle if you do like upper lower in one day, then you take a day off, upper lower in another day, you take a day off, upper lower in another day, take a day off, then you have 2 days off back to back, restart, right? Regardless of which one you pick, there's going to be a period where you have a rest day, right? So we would think that whatever day comes after that rest day is going to have the most amount of rest through all the days that you train, right? Every single day that you train, it would be the freshest lift, you could say. In my opinion, this should be the day where you're gonna, maybe you throw your singles on this day, or this is the day where you are seeing where you're at when it's all said and done. It's time to pick numbers for competition. This is the day that you're gonna use, right? It's gonna be a Monday or a Tuesday or whatever. The day that comes after your rest day, basically, assuming that on your rest day you actually rest and you're not doing some other crazy physical activity or whatever. So we're just establishing that that day that comes after the most of, like that Monday, right, is going to be the freshest day if we're going with that 6 training day a week split. That being said, you can expect, you know, towards the front half of that week to be a little bit stronger during that time, right? And then towards the end of that week, you're going to be a little bit weaker. Pretty simple, right? There are going to be times occasionally where at the end of the week you feel pretty strong. Um, you know, due to this, if you're going with upper lower, and your middle lower day is a deadlift day, then maybe maybe your deadlift doesn't interfere with your squat as much. I mean, mine does. I think for most people it probably would. Maybe you have an easy deadlift day or whatever. In that case, the squat day, right, would be a lot easier. Because the later squat day, because you're gonna have 3 days distance between those two lifts. But usually that middle deadlift day is gonna disrupt things, so that last squat day during the week is gonna suck. Um, so like understanding why you're strong at the beginning and weak at the end is important. Sometimes we're in the moment and we're hitting that later, or even if it's bench, right? Let's say you're at the end of the week and you're training bench, it's the last day of the week and you feel like shit. Um, or that last day of the week and you're hitting deadlift or squat or whatever it is, you know, you don't think about where you're at in your split, right? You just think about, I'm weak today. And then you have an emotional response to you being weak today. It's usually negative. It kind of fucks up your workout, kills your mood. Your whole day sucks now, whatever. Understanding what day is supposed to be strong in your split and what day is probably going to be weaker in your split is really, really, really important. Because when you run into those tough days, you're just going to roll with the punches and keep moving. And, not always are you going to be strong at that beginning of the week, that fresh, day. If you're like me, and you only train your competition squat once a week, right? I hit it on Mondays. If I go ham on a Monday, my following Monday is going to be affected by that Monday. That's just how I work, right? Because my timeline and my recovery is going to be slower and longer. It's like a longer, like tapers affect me a lot. Like I need to have a lot of rest. I can't, hit things back to back. It's like completely out of the question for me to ever pull like a squat day, and then let's say I know my schedule's fucked up and I have to squat again. It is not there's not happening. I will never squat 2 days back to back. I absolutely cannot do it. It would be absolutely pointless. Assuming that the work that I got done on the first day was sufficient. This is for me. This principle kind of applies to everyone, but to a lesser extent, depending on how much you can recover from stuff, right? So, let's say you don't follow that 6 day a week split. Let's say your days are all mixed up, right? You have random days off. You're like Monday, Tuesday off, and like Friday off or something, right? So you have this weird split. The same thing would apply. You would just have to look at the distance between like your consecutive the distance from your most fatigued day. So it would be the day that has the most amount of lower days or upper days, whatever body part, right? We forget we're training lifts, yeah, but we're also training body parts, right? So if you want to count like sumo deadlift and a squat like similar, you can do that. So the day at the end of that cycle, wherever it is, 3 days, 4 days, whatever, is gonna be the most beat up. So regardless of how your split is set up, you gotta know, okay, maybe my Wednesday is supposed to be my strong day and my Friday is gonna suck, right? This is, this changes. This is like very individual, right? So some people, when they bench press, for example, they might be better after benching 2 days consecutively, or they might be better after squatting with minimal rest, and they actually lose some sharpness the more time they have away from a lift, right? With females especially, you're gonna want them benching usually more frequently than males, just because the weights are relatively light, and they're tinier muscles, so they don't need as much time to recover. So the point is, regardless of how your split is set up, you have to understand. If you have a coach, you ask them, hey, what day should I feel strong? What day should I feel weak? And it's not like strong in that you're gonna PR. You might, but it's stronger than what the later days in the week would be. And there are things that you can do within each day. For example, if let's say my Monday squats are typically supposed to be strong, if I take that Monday as a deload and I squat again on Friday, that could be strong, right? It depends. It all depends on how things are structured, what intensity, sets, reps are you prescribing at the beginning of the week, towards the end of the week. I like to put the harder stuff closer to the rest day because you're going to be, more recovered. But sometimes things happen and you need to go in and call an audible. It's normal. It happens. And I think having a variable training, auto regulation, things like that, having to revise things if needed is going to be much more effective than just like set, things that are just like set in stone. There was a study that just came out saying how like percentage based training was, inferior to undulate or like auto regulatory practices, something like that. I saw it recently. I do think you can structure percentage in a way that would be like beneficial to the lifter, but it just becomes very like mindless and mundane, and it's not very interesting. And I think you kind of rob the lifter from there's a certain education or certain self-awareness that they gain from training with auto-regulation and having to be objective and having to see what they're actually doing and think on it rather than just telling them what to do and them like not even thinking. I do try to take out as much thinking as possible in my training with my people, but and there absolutely is a point where too much thinking is going to be detrimental. But if I can give them better instincts, literally training them to have better instincts, then that's just going to make any training that I give them that much more effective. So some people have this. Some people have this like inherently. They've just been training for many years and they get it. And some people like you teach them over time, and it just makes their stuff more effective. But yeah, understanding your training split, understanding strong and weak days is gonna be. It's gonna help temper your expectations. It's gonna help manage your expectations. It's just gonna make the whole process of training so much more effective. So, yeah, that was the informative part of this video. I hope you guys are able to take something away from that. Pretty good stuff in there. So yeah, now we're gonna get into some real talk, and this is just like me just observing people's behavior on the internet I get emails from I don't even know how many people every week, tons of people every week, and just a reoccurring theme that's been coming up is just like the coach lifter relationship and just people not being treated right and things like that. I'm not gonna mention any names at all here. I'm strictly speaking in general. This doesn't even have to do with like coaching. I mean, it does. It has to do with just interacting with people in general as a person, right? And I actually have some notes here, and I just wrote down some things that is should be the foundation of like every relationship. It's just loyalty, and under that loyalty, there's like trust, respect, um, you know, and positive, having positive confrontations with people that you care about, right? Maybe you don't even care about this person, but you need to be around them, and there's no way around it. So I think positive confrontation is, like I said, guys. I think I mentioned this not too long ago in a video. Positive confrontation is is like one of the themes of this year. Like what for whatever reason, maybe I'm finally old enough to take a step back and just see what people are lacking this generation. I don't know what it is. I don't know why people don't have this, or they just weren't taught this, or maybe it's because we're on social media and we don't have to deal with people face to face, so we just say things online and it is what it is. The problem with social media when you communicate and you're really trying to get your point across is that there's no context behind there's no emotion behind it, just words, right? So that could be interpreted in many different ways. For example, if someone is telling me, hey, keep your butt down on bench or something, or your squats are high, or whatever they're trying to say. Maybe they truly mean it from a place of like happiness, or like a fucking positive place. They're trying to help me, right? Maybe they're really trying to help me. Because it's on the internet, it comes off as like trying to take away from my accomplishments, or something like that, trying to put me down or whatever. We put a lot of time into this. Powerlifters really sensitive about their lifts or whatnot. I've been around long enough to know, like, I just literally don't even respond to those people. They're not even worth a response, honestly. I saw someone commented, one of my lifters the other day, and said like, "Oh, your lift is almost as good as X person," right? Little does this guy know that was like not a particularly good day for him, and he's hit like hundreds of pounds more, and I could just shut that guy up. But it's like, for what? Just let them be ignorant. They don't deserve your enlightenment, right? These people, those are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about having positive confrontation with people that you care about, or people that you have no choice but to like be cordial with them. Maybe you work with someone at work, you have a job, and there's someone that you don't really get along with. You don't agree with their life choices or whatever, but you have to be around them. I think it's gonna show that person that you have respect for them if you sit them down and say, "Hey, look, man. Like, I know we don't get along. There's a lot of pettiness going on, but like, let me lay it out for you and explain, why I have issues with you, and like, show you that I'm willing to get past this and move forward, and just be cordial, right? I'm sure if they're a reasonable person, that's going to be it's going to create a healthier work environment. You guys are going to be able to get through whatever it is you're going through day to day during your 9 to 5 or whatever. In general, when you have an issue with someone, instead of like, being petty about it, I think we should just be straight up with them, and be real with them, and just talk to them, have a conversation. Tell them the truth, right? Trust and just honesty is, like, if you're always honest, you're gonna save yourself a gazillion problems, right? You just want to always tell the truth, just be honest as best you can. And like, part of what I do is I have to, like, let's say I really like someone I'm coaching as a person. I really like them, right? I enjoy their demeanor. Our dynamic is great. It's always usually relatively positive, but they send me a squat and it's kind of high, right? I gotta tell them. I absolutely have to tell them. I have to tell them the hard stuff, right? There's too many lifters that come from me from other coaches, and I know this coach is decent. Like, I'm assuming they're pretty decent, but it's like, I get the feeling that they were too buddy buddy with their lifter to not tell them the truth, and not tell them, hey man, look, you're fucking up, you're squatting high, you're da da da, this and that. And it's just always happy, 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 because they don't have self worth. They don't have, like, they don't understand what they can bring to the table, so they're not showing them. They're not being honest with them because they're afraid of blowback. You can't. You absolutely can't. You just need to move, and you need to act accordingly. You need to just say what you need to say in order to help them, right? Let's say you did somebody wrong or whatever. you fucked up, right? Then you take responsibility for fucking up, and you explain, maybe your own reasonable situation or whatever, and you apologize, and then you move on. Ego is such a fucking toxic thing. It's like literally one of the most toxic definitions of character that I can possibly think of, right? And we gotta kill that shit. You gotta put that shit aside for the greater good. You gotta take care of the guy next to you. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm competitors, for example, there's no point in being petty with each other. You guys, if anything, should respect each other more than anything. You guys are both training. You guys are both training. You guys both go through it every day. You're both dealing with injuries. You're both going through it. If anything, they're more like you than anyone else. So, it makes no sense for people to be stupid and petty on the internet, especially like amongst powerlifters, man. We just cannibalize. It's retarded. I just want to see people go out of their way more to have that talk with that person they care about. Go out of their way more to just demonstrate trust, demonstrate that you have respect for your fellow lifter. If your coach has always been there for you and you love what they've done for you, take a step back, look at the situation objectively. That's another great thing from this, is that you can take, is just to be fucking objective and do the right thing. Captain America actually is literally he already knows all this shit, right? He's always gonna do the right thing. He's always gonna tell the truth. Well, actually, there's times when what I'm saying, when he didn't tell Tony that Bucky killed his parents and then fucking Iron Man snapped. If he would have told him ahead of time, if he would have told him before all this shit, that shit never would have built up, and Iron Man never would have snapped like that. You know what I mean? When you let shit build, when you sit on a lie, it gets worse and worse and worse, right? This is not even lifting at this point. I'm just talking about fucking life shit. Someone's calling me. Who's calling me? Anyway, yeah, now I'm all riled up. Positive confrontation, guys. That's what I want you to take away from this. Positive confrontation. Have that confrontation if the outcome of that conversation is for the greater good of everyone. I think if more people would just communicate their feelings and just be honest with one another, they could get to the bottom of their issues, and it will help them grow and be better. If you have a coach related to lifting, right? If you have a coach and you feel like you're not getting what you're supposed to be getting, or you feel like you could be doing better, or maybe they're not doing their part, have that conversation. They'll give you their side. Hopefully they're reasonable, and everybody's like not being unreasonable. That's the thing. Everybody's got to be on the same page. And then you guys come to a conclusion. Maybe you communicate more. Maybe they explain more. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm just throwing shit out there. You know what I mean? I just want to see more positive confrontation. I want to see more people shaking hands. I'll never forget one of the OGs in the sport. I'm not going to say his name, but we had a disagreement, and he shot me an email. He said he wanted to have a conversation. We sat down. We had the conversation, and it was fucking like, I wasn't even uncomfortable. It was great. It was like a good thing. We put aside our differences, and we're buddies now. You know what I mean? And that's the type of shit that I never see. You don't see these days anymore. It's always behind some emotion or some just dumb petty shit. You know what I mean? And I hate that. I fucking hate it. I want everyone to just like be real with each other. Literally, this whole thing is like, if I just said be real, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. But like that's literally all it is, man. And being real is not like being tough. It's just fucking not pretending to be tough. Because if you pretend, you're gonna meet someone that's actually tough, and they're gonna shit on your life. You know what I mean? It's just being honest, being truthful, telling truth. I'm fucking rambling now. There was one more thing I wanted to say. Yeah, I just think that having that positive confrontation is lost in this generation. If I have one person that listens to this video, one youngster, one young buck, one young goon coming up, understand what it takes. Understand that the positive confrontation is a good thing. Then the purpose of this video was accomplished. I want to shout out to my fucking old football coaches who would always have those talks with us, those tough talks, those hard talks with us, bringing us in, telling us, look at this assignment, look at this play, you fucked up. You fucked up. You need to make it right. Don't do it again. And that's it. And we just learn from it, and everybody gets on. It's tough love at first, maybe. It's obviously going to be uncomfortable. But once you get through it, it's better for everyone. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making it this far. Let me get a hashtag positive confrontation, hashtag Spider-Man hype, a hashtag Detective Pikachu hype, whatever you want to put in the comments below. Let's drop it down below. If this video was able to help you in some way, go ahead and drop a like. Let me know, And fuck, man, I'm gonna be in Sweden in a month. We got a huge state meet coming up. I'm super fucking excited for this year, guys. A lot of things going on in my life that I want to share. I just need to finish it first. And yeah, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.